What is going on, guys, and welcome to a brand new upcoming updates video for DayZ Standalone. Today, of course, we will be starting off by talking about the 0.61 update and the remaining blockers. There is less of them now than there was during the last upcoming updates video, of course, so they are starting to nail these out. So for this week, there is client crash after exiting title. I wouldn't say that that's a big one because I even get that right now sometimes during 0.60, so every now and then when I close the game it does crash like that, so I wouldn't say that's a big one. The second one and the third one, however, do seem to be pretty major. Player sound effect sounds near silent. Players can become severely out of sync. We'll talk more about that last one in a little bit. That one is a pretty big issue, but they are going to nail that one out. Some firearms not firing on first mouse click, player position stuttering under 100 plus ping network conditions, some lighting conditions not casting proper shadows, known 0.60 item duplication methods, magazine capacity issues, new methods for players swimming in ground. That's a major glitch. It's currently back in 0.60 and hopefully they'll nail that one in 0.61. or maybe in the future updates when the player controller does come through. UI zeroing not present, Glock muzzle flash sound effects not present for other players. So those are the current remaining blockers. The list is getting smaller, guys. We are getting closer to 0.61. Maybe not as close as most of us thought we were, but we are getting closer to it. So to talk a little bit more about the network synchronization, they did say that the gameplay programming team is currently focused on addressing the previously mentioned issue with the 100 plus ping connections having jittery gameplay in some situations. So they are working on that. That's a pretty big one, as well as tracking the recently discovered repro steps for causing player-to-player sync to fail. Once these issues are resolved, we should be good to go. So this is, I would say, probably the major blocker right now, 4.61. This is probably the biggest one on the list. So once this one is taken care of, I feel like we'll be very close to having the update drop on the experimental branch. So a lot of us and a lot of the player base, including myself, do get frustrated and always wonder, why can't we just have 0.61 already? Just put it out on the experimental branch, you know, we'll play it and we'll deal with it. You know, at least we want the update. And a lot of people do get frustrated like that, but it is important to fix these issues. The devs here talk about how, you know, the player desync issue is also responsible for issues like no gunshots, not hearing gunshots, or, you know, the player position being out of sync when you see someone and having all kinds of desync on your screen. So those are issues that can be frustrating. A lot of you guys have to deal with them. I've had to deal with them in the past, and that's something that they want to try to fix. It is taking some time, but it is worth fixing this. This is a major issue with the game and it can ruin a lot of the gameplay experience. And of course, the second one, the duping issue. Why are they taking the time to fix the duping issues? Well, because duping does ruin the economy. It puts a huge amount of weapons in the game that shouldn't be as common to find and should be way more rare to come across. It devalues those weapons by a lot when duping comes through, so that's why they are working to fix these issues, and they're hoping that people do understand that. There was also some talk about player temperature this week. A lot of you do know that hyperthermia is an issue in 0.60. Basically, this is where you start overheating. It happens a lot in 0.60 at the moment. So for 0.61, they're talking about having more of hypothermia being a factor in surviving. So in 0.61, we should be able to see hypothermia being more of a risk when you're wet and or dealing with severe cold and improper protection against those elements. So we should see a bit more of that in 0.61 instead of the overheating issues in 0.60. They did also talk about the future of DayZ a bit, the player controller, the animations, physics, and the damage system. Guys, those are things that are still a work in progress at the moment. Those are things they are still working on, even though they haven't talked about them in status reports in a while. They did explain this week that even though they haven't been talking about these things in the status reports as much, doesn't mean that they're not working on them. The status reports are more for the next update. It's trying to let us know where we are with that. Not really looking this far ahead, but this week they did let us know that work does continue on all of these things and they are working hard at all of these. They did say the programmers were implementing the new animation system. All scripted systems and mechanics were refactored and rewritten into on-force scripts. You guys know they used to use CQF scripts, but they no longer use those and they're no longer writing in that, so they had to rewrite everything into on-force scripts, and that's what they're using now and that's what they will be using in the future for all of these things. So guys, work does continue on that. They also did mention that ranged combat as well as melee combat is being reevaluated at this time. With the new systems pouring in, it's finally the right time to revamp it. So a lot of you guys probably saw my new video where we had some melee combat. Of course, it didn't look good. It's not good at the moment. I don't think anyone really enjoys it that much. Melee combat is just not fun at the moment. They did say it is going to be revamped, so that's something we can all look forward to, and I can't wait for melee to be revamped and hopefully get better than what it is at the moment. There was also talk about central economy changes this week and an issue that they have figured out how they want to overcome. So basically at the moment there are different tiers where loot spawn. Tier 4 is where military gear spawns, so we're talking Northwest Airfield, Vybor, those areas where you go and find AKs. The issue there is since that whole area is tier 4, weapons like FAL and stuff have been spawning in villages, which is something that they don't want to see, because that, you know, a weapon like that should not just be spawning inside of a village. Well, a way to fix that is that now zones will be implemented. So inside of tiers there will be different zones, like a military zone where military gear will spawn. What this will help do is actually fix an issue that they have right now where, for example, on the coast military gear is not supposed to spawn, but there is, you know, Balota where you should be able to find something like an AK. So they gave an example here of being able to find an AK at Balota Airfield in the future, because they will be able to split that from the tier that it's in and, you know, put it under a military zone where military gear can spawn. That's very cool to hear. It's going to help a lot with the looting issues around the map and make things a lot better in general. They also made a pretty important statement this week, saying that they do know and are aware that there is plenty of space for changes and improvements which can be made to make gunfights more enjoyable. So this is really good to hear, and a lot of these issues will be fixed when the new damage system is added, when the new player controller is added, when the new animation system and things like that are in the game. A lot of the issues right now are caused by the old systems, the old damage system that just has a lot of problems, and the movement system right now, which makes you kind of stall when you try to do different things. It makes you stall and get into an animation that you can't get out of in time before you get killed. There are a lot of issues like that will be fixed with the new animation system and the new player controller. They even talked about looking into things like difficulty controlling recoil, enormous sway that, you know, all of us have had in the game. After running you get huge sway, so they talked about changes to that and changes to the recoil, and they do know that there is big room for improvement here. So I'm glad to hear that they do know that and that they are working towards that. I'm looking forward to see what the new systems can change with gunfights when they are in the game. We also had a tweet from a dev this week saying that Cherno will slightly be rebuilt again, so more changes to Cherno. Even though it was changed a lot with 0.60, we can expect to see some small changes to it as well in the future. And also they are working hard on new trees / houses, as well as some new villages that they still want to add to the map. So some cool stuff here, guys. Good to see that work still continues even on the map, but it has not yet been confirmed when we will see these or in which update. Alright, and to finish it off for you guys, I wanted to finish it off on something very exciting. This is the Crop Duster airplane, the first airplane to be added into DayZ Standalone. They said, meet Bumblebee. This utility airplane, used mostly for crop dusting, will be the first airplane introduced into the world of DayZ. So guys, this is confirmed to be the first airplane coming into the game. We are looking forward to it. It has not been confirmed when this will be coming in either, but it will be cool to see when it is in the game. They released about 3 pictures for those, so hopefully you guys like those, and I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have, be sure to hit that like. This was a longer one, a lot more information in this one, guys, so I do hope you liked it, and subscribe if you are new. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.